Hey everyone, it's Eric DeSando. I'm here with Mako, and we're going to talk today about resources versus resourcefulness and some other goodies out of the Three Magic Words, the great monster book written in '57 by U.S. Anderson, my favorite book of all time. No disrespect to the Bible, of course. So resources are never the issue. It's always been a lack of resourcefulness, as the great Tony Robbins says. And I just want to address today what that means and some ideas that you can work on. So, and I've written this over here on the board, so if I'm looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my board. So first of all, before I tell you about some other goodies, I want to just tell you a quick story about what happened to me in the 90s. I had been a casting director for 6 years, and I was casting TV and film and commercials. I was doing movies like Leprechaun 2 and Leprechaun in the Hood and Leprechaun 3 and Best of the Best 4 and Best of the Best 2 and Meatballs 4 and just a bunch of crap. But I was enjoying it. I loved it. I was young and I didn't need to make a lot of money, and I was working with big casting directors that were giving me projects that they wouldn't do and letting me do them, and then I give them half the money on the other end. During that time, I kind of figured out that kids were being taken advantage of in the business. And not just kids, their parents. And they were buying lots of expensive shit, and they were not having a good experience. So I came up with an idea for a kit called the Kids and Teens Casting Kit. I literally went to Staples, I think it was still Staples at the time, and I had them print me this round label that said Kids and Teens Casting Kit, and I had 3-ring binder, and I put these pages in, and it was just a kit you could buy, and it would give you classes and pictures and evaluation by agents. And at the end of it, the key was I knew that every kid could work as an extra. So I created an extras company called March Hair Management, like the bunny rabbit from Easter, and it was a big hit. And the kit sold for a little bit of money. But in order for me to get that kit going, a series of circumstances had to happen. There was no way I could afford to get leads for this process at a price point that would be affordable for a parent to pay less than $400. It just wasn't going to work. So one day I was in my casting office and I looked outside, and there was a line of children and parents on Sunset Boulevard going right by my office into the building next to me, up to the 11th floor and in there. I followed the line like you'd follow Reese's Pieces. Like E.T. would follow Reese's Pieces. And I went up to the 11th floor. I went in there. It said Rotman O'Brien Talent Consultants. I said, who is Rotman? Who's O'Brien? I'm the guy from downstairs who's casting. I'm looking for children for a project I was doing called Indian in the Cupboard, if you remember that movie. And they said, this is the two owners. I met them. And I said, can I use some of the kids? So I had a resource issue. I didn't have the ability to get the parents and kids into my program because I couldn't afford to go out and advertise for them. So the resourceful part was when I went up there, I didn't know, I just figured there's a lot of kids. I said to them, do you have some of these kids, can I work with some of them? I have some projects and I have this idea for a kit. And they said, well, 1 in 10 of these kids is going to buy our product for $2,200. I said, okay, well those kids probably maybe I can put on the shows or do some things with, but how about the ones that didn't buy it? He said, oh, we have lots of those. I said, well, where are they? He goes, come here. They opened up these double doors, I'll never forget it, and inside were boxes and boxes of lead sheets. A lead is a potential customer, that's what a lead is. I couldn't believe it. I said, do you understand how much money is sitting here? They go, well, they didn't buy our stuff. I don't think they're gonna buy anything else. And my resourceful attitude, which dominated my life, for whatever I lack in brains, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to me, but I don't care about my logical brain that much. I think it's stupid. I really think that overthinking and over-learning is bullshit if you don't have passion. So anyway, so I think most of your logical brain's a waste. But my resourcefulness, which comes from my heart and my gut, I knew that I could make money. And I made a deal with them to help their kids that weren't getting agents, because they paid money, in exchange for the leads, and my company was born, okay? So, circumstances. So, one of the things that I hear from a lot of people are they having circumstance issues where things aren't going right for them. You know, so you're in a situation, you're trying to build Mako's trying to make a movie, because he's going to make a movie someday soon, and every time he gets close to getting funded, something bad happens, and then he gets sick, and then his mother's, and then girlfriend problems, and it just seems like he's getting a lot of roadblocks. So circumstantially, it appears that there's negativity. They're the detours to the path which you have projected yourself. Mako is hell-bent on making independent film, and so the truth of those circumstances is actually that's God's way, or the universal consciousness way, of steering you to the right direction. Not that he shouldn't make movies, but there may be some other purpose for him being here, and the universe is putting up roadblocks to push you in another direction. Here's the key. If you see those circumstances as evil, they can manifest into that. So you have to be careful. When you have a problem, when you get fired from your job, okay? When a coach gets fired from a major university, which just happens every year, and they blame some situation, and they create this evilness to the fact they got fired, they're missing the point. They were not where they were supposed to be, and the God portion, what we call the universal conscious mind, was going to put up a roadblock to push you in a different direction. That logic, which I don't even think it's logic, but that philosophy, if you have that philosophy, and I'm telling you guys this, and I'm listening to this so I can do it myself, is a key component to taking charge of your life, to being accountable. Gary Vee, my mentor, one of my mentors, talks a lot about no excuses. No excuses. He just had a vlog out about it. He went to Alabama, the University of Alabama, and on the wall, they have an incredible facility with 61 of their guys have gone first round. And it's just if you walk in as a recruit, you want to sign. And then they have this big thing that says no excuses, Alabama. And I agree with them. The reason why you can't have excuses in your life is it takes away from your understanding of your connection to everything. In other words, the excuse for the reason you failed is bullshit. You failed because your path wasn't in congruence with what your dharma is. Your path wasn't in congruence with what your dharma is. I'm going to have to use that. And so you're off path. And you as God, as the peace of God, as we've talked about in the 3 magic words, which are, I am God, okay, is pushing you back into the right direction. Let's all start to see those obstacles as what they are. And what they are is actually good, not bad. Okay, so that's one of the things I want to mention. And then only when you accept them as evil do they become evil, as I mentioned. Otherwise, they're temporary and dissolve immediately when refused by the impetus of conviction. That's the words from 1957, the words we probably wouldn't use very much anymore, but I love those words. When refused by the impetus of conviction, that is the passion. That's why you have to have passion. If you don't have passion, you won't have impetus. When you don't have impetus, you won't have conviction. When you don't have conviction, those things will become not roadblocks, they'll become atomic bombs in your life, because you won't be able to control the direction you're going in, and what you'll do is you'll recede backwards, which is the worst thing you can do. I always tell people, move forward, and when you can't, go sideways. So you're like, it's almost like a maze. You hit a wall, you move, you go forward. You hit another wall, you move, you go forward. It's what I call the slide. You need to be sliding all the time as you're going through a lot of conflicts, because that's just the game, baby. And there'll be a point in your life where everything will work for a short period of time, and then it'll just, again, you'll have to start sliding. I don't care how successful you are. Look at the most successful people in the world right now. Look at Elon Musk, how many problems that motherfucker's having. Who am I thinking of that was like somebody who's extraordinary, just was going through a lot of shit. It's Gary Vee, at some point in his career, as we see him evolve, because he's amazing, is going to go through some major shit. Like something will happen that he'll be exposed for, he'll have to deal with, it'll set him back. And I'll be excited to see how he handles that roadblock. Because I'm sure, even though he doesn't have a philosophy, I don't think he doesn't like to read. I don't think he's ever read the 3 magic words, but for some reason that guy was gifted with internal, this was like almost put in him, because the way he speaks is so congruent with what U.S. Anderson talks about. Okay, so let's talk about a couple other things. Okay, so we're going to cut there, but then I'm going to, because we'll do 2 on this. Yeah.